Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to another one of my channels. So, this beautiful morning, I'm driving to work, and I'm on the highway doing about 70-75 miles per hour, and I apply the brakes. And of course, I start feeling a slight vibration. So, more likely indicates I'm probably gonna need brakes. Well, rotors more likely. Car has about 64,000 miles. I knew that at some point in time I was going to need brakes like every other car does, of course, but was hoping to make it at least till next summer. I am gonna be putting the power stop brakes on this vehicle. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get the car checked out for sure, and either way I'm probably gonna be ordering brakes and rotors all the way around the vehicle. The reason I'm doing the power stop performance brakes and rotors on my 2014 CTS 2.0 turbo is because I do have a tune on the car, downpipe, and an intake, which actually, according to all the specs or the manuals or whatever you want to call them, it actually says it increases the horsepower. Of course, you know, the tune's going to increase the horsepower. So from 275 stock that this car has, I should be in around the 320s, 330s with all the stuff that I have on there. And when increasing horsepower, you always want better brakes. I didn't put them on right away. I kept the stock brakes on there. Of course, again, I got more rotors more likely due to the excessive heat when you are driving the car at higher speeds and higher RPMs and everything like that. Again, by no means do I have a race car or, you know, a muscle car or anything like that, but it does get up and go, especially with the tune and everything else on there. It does feel a little bit different. It feels a little bit better. But again, anytime you increase horsepower or anything, you are supposed to change, you know, brakes just for safety, you and everybody else around on the road as well. So we're gonna get the car checked. We're gonna get the car checked out, and we will see where my brakes are at, and we'll go from there. We'll probably be ordering the brakes.
All right, so the car needs brakes. Apparently, I'm down to about 1 millimeter in the back, which is almost nothing, and the front still has 5, but I'm not one to sit here and do the rears and the front. I'll just do all the way around. I don't really like, especially with something with safety like that, I don't like to play around with. So I'm gonna get the new brakes. I am gonna go with the Z23 Evolution Sport from, actually ordered from Summit, but it's powerstop. It's the manufacturer. Ceramic brakes, you know, for a good price. I had them on my last Cadillac, and they work great. And the reason I do the ceramic brakes with the cross-stroke rotors, and even though it's not, you know, a really high-performance machine again, I do it because I do have a tune on this car, as I did on the other one. I do have a, you know, intake, a downpipe, and the tune, which gives it an additional, I'm thinking that just the tune alone is about 25 more horsepower. You increase the horsepower on a car, you're gonna need better brakes. Didn't go full out. I didn't go, you know, fully 100%, you know, racetrack brakes or muscle car brakes from powerstop. I just did the Z23, which is the, you know, the street everyday driving, but they still have the ceramic cross-stroke rotors for better heat dissipation and stuff like that. And of course, the reason I'm also doing that is because the other brakes, I do have warpage on the front rotors due to the overheating. So we're gonna get these. Just place the order on them. Should be getting them here by the end of the weekend. I'll be putting them on, and I actually have a video and you'll see me put them on, and you'll see them on the car as well. And then we'll take it on a drive and see how it performs. So that's coming up as well. So I'll see you guys in a few days, and we'll be putting them on together. Alright guys, so today is brake installation day. I already got the car jacked up. You can see those are the stock brakes on there. They've been on there for about 60,000 miles or so. So put some rust penetrant under the bolts to get them off. Here are the actual brakes, the front rotors, the front pads, and this is, I mean, for the value, $320 or $350 actually plus tax. You get everything, hardware, front and rear pads, and performance rotors. I mean, it is a great value. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Again, I already started, took the tires off, waiting for the penetrant to penetrate through the studs or the bolts, and we're going to get this going. GM has a tendency to make these little Torx screws that go onto these things that seize up in there, so I had to drill this one completely out. Same thing on the other side. I don't know why GM keeps doing that. A pain in the butt to get out, but whatever. That one's out. I'll keep working on it. I'll show you guys real quick on this side how to actually do this stuff. Again, don't follow every instruction I say. Use safety precautions on by every means, and do it your way. Again, if you can't do it, don't try it. If you know what you're doing, brakes are nothing to be messing around with. They are a safety thing, and you don't want to get any type of accidents and hurt yourself or hurt anybody else. So I removed the back pins on this, which are these right here. That bolt right there comes out. I removed the bottom one already out of there right there. You can see the hole right there. It's sitting right there. Those come out. These right here, you got to punch out. Those little things right there, they got to be punched out. And you use that with a punch. My punch broke about a week ago, so I'm using a small, just the T25 actually that I was using on the other side to try to get that that actual screw out. But I'm gonna use that hammer. They punch out pretty easily. So here I'll kind of give you you can see it. There's one that comes out that side here. There you go. That is it. And you can pull the other one out. They both come right out. Set them on the side. Save those because again, the power stops do not come with the right length pins. So make sure you're saving these pins. Do not throw them out. Do not break them. Do not damage them in any kind of way. Now these things, the pads, you're going to use, either you could try to pull them with this if you're able to get in there. Kind of gotta wiggle them in and out of there. Again, I'm doing this to show you guys because honestly, I could just take the whole, here. We're gonna do in rotors, just take the whole thing out. This bolt's already loose up here. So I'll take this whole thing out since we're doing rotors anyways. There you go. Pads come right out. Alright, so once, of course, you got the caliper out, make sure it's secured. Again, I use a coat hanger to hang it onto the spring there. You're probably going to have to, depending on how long these things have been on there, if you see all that rust down there, you're going to probably have to beat the hell out of this rotor. Unfortunately, as many times as I've done brakes, I still haven't bought a mallet. Dumb for not buying a mallet. I keep using the small regular hammer there. But once you beat on it for a good 10 minutes and stuff, the rotor should come right off. Should be able to get it right out of there. And it'll be loose, and then you can remove that. Now once you remove the rotor, clean off the backing surface, where you're going to be mounting the new rotor in. I'm going to do this one-handed right there. I'm going to get all that crud out of there, all that rust in there, so you get a nice flat mounting surface on there. And then, of course, the installation is kind of the reverse of what you just did. Alright, so rear brakes are done. Again, I only got the one piston on the back, 4 piston on the front, but the performance, same exact power stop brakes on there. As for the actual rear pads, they were actually pretty low. I mean, I only had paper thin almost here, almost nothing to stop them, so good thing I did them. But again, so front and rear brakes, power stop, ZR23s are the ones they are, or ZS26s, ZR23, something like that. But done on both front and rear, both sides. So we're gonna go on a quick drive. For you actually to drive these brakes, to actually start using them, there's a drive pattern you gotta do. You gotta get them up to a hot operating temperature and hit the brakes a few times. If you don't do that, you could actually wear them, damage them, and then have issues prematurely. So we're gonna go ahead and go take a test drive on these things, get them all set up and ready. But other than that, work is done. All right, so back in the garage, went for the test drive on the vehicle. This was a few days ago, and I'm sorry I didn't show you that. The car actually I said the car, but the camera actually died. It had no battery, so I wasn't able to show the test drive. Well, when I did the test drive, everything seemed fine. That was a Saturday. Sunday, I didn't drive the car. Monday, I didn't drive my car. I had to take my wife's car to get an oil change at my place. So it actually sat down for 2 days. On Tuesday, when I went to drive my car, I was coming home from work, and I didn't feel it in the morning. I kind of felt a slight shake in the morning from the steering and the braking. Didn't think much of it. I'm like, all right, whatever, disregard it, even though I kind of already knew what was going on. When I went to drive my car back home at Tuesday night, I'm driving, I'm on a highway, I'm doing about 75 miles per hour on the highway. I needed to stop. I hit the brakes, and all of a sudden, and I wish I could have showed you guys, but at that point in time, I was like, what is going on? I wish I could have showed you guys, but the whole car just started shaking. The steering wheel shaking, brake pedal shaking. It just feels like the thing's going to fall apart. I'm like, did I leave a wheel loose or something? So I pull over side of the road, check the wheel. Everything looks good. Lug nuts are good. What's going on? Get on the highway. Car drives smooth, okay? So it's nothing with the wheel bearing. It's nothing with suspension because the car's driving smooth. It's only when applying the brakes. Get home, pull the car right into the garage, and this is what I find. So it's supposed to move freely when you turn the rotor, even when the car is off the ground, of course. Moves freely, and it stops right there. And then here, you have to put pressure to get through this. And then, of course, we got some free movement again. And right at the same point, we have the same pressure. Pretty much, we have a work rotor. This side, I can move the whole thing with one hand and not have an issue with it. Okay, so we have a warp rotor on the front. So of course, with that happening, I get on the phone with powerstop. Well, not powerstop, but Summit Racing. It's where I always order my rotors and pads from. I've had them the same thing on all my Cadillacs. And you know what? The nice thing is that they do take care of their customers. They sent me a whole new kit. And I'm not just talking, the rotors are in there, of course, pads. I'm not just talking a front rotor or one rotor or his rotor. They literally sent me all four, all the way around. And that's awesome. So I'm going to have to redo this whole brake job again, which I don't mind. I just want to be able to get proper braking without actually having to worry about any shimming or shaking or anything like that, which was the main reason I was replacing my brakes, because my back brakes were down to nothing, but my front brakes still had about 5 millimeters, which is still a good amount left, but I was getting a slight vibration out of them because the rotors were getting worked as well. Well, ended up switching the rotors and ended up with the worse, actually. It was actually worse, so because this one's actually worse, this driver front. So I'm going to go ahead and do this brake job all over again. I'm going to cross my fingers that this time there's no warp rotors and this whole issue goes away and I can get back to driving my car and enjoying it. So, see you guys in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and do my brakes. Alright guys, so the next day after installing the brakes, the second set of brakes that I got from PowerStop, of course, I did the braking procedure, or the procedure for setting the brakes properly, which is basically getting the car up to 40 miles per hour and stopping, braking down to 10 miles per hour. You do this 5 times. Same thing. Then you repeat the process by going up to 35, braking to 5 miles per hour, and then driving around the car for a while at lower speeds just to cool off the brakes. That's pretty much how PowerStop says to do the braking procedure. Second set of brakes, and I've always loved PowerStop. I've always had them on all my cars, as an application, aftermarket application, and
have never had any issues with them. And this is the second set of brakes that if I'm doing 75 to 80 miles an hour, you get a rumbling and you get a shaking. And it's just, it's not safe, it's annoying, and it's frustrating. Not saying that Power Stop is not great brakes, and I was trying to do a review on the brakes to let you guys know that they are great brakes, but I guess the application matters. The problem I think here is that the vehicle, the 2014 Cadillac CTS, even the 2.0 turbo that I have, which is the lower end of the engines, even if they come with original equipment, they come with Brembo brakes on them. It's got Brembo calipers. The dealer says it's got heavy duty brakes already from the factory, which I looked up, and they are actually Brembo rotors and pads as well. They're not slotted. And I don't know if you guys can hear that and feel that, but if you didn't, I would just break down from 80 to 50, and that was just vibration all over the place. But anyways, the brakes themselves are supposed to be from Brembo. Now, going to Power Stop, that would be a downgrade, and they are a solid rotor. They're not any type of cross-drilled or slotted rotor. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to have to actually return these. Unfortunately, I like the way they look. I like the way they performed. But I'm going to have to stick with the original equipment. I mean, if they are Brembo, that's great. That's awesome. They are Brembo brakes, so it's not like I'm getting a cheap set of brakes, you know. And I'm going to have to go with the original equipment at this point. But that's what it is right now. So, yeah, I will actually show you guys, of course, when I put the original, when I take the set off and put the original back in. I got to go in and order it. I'm actually going into work right now, and I'll place the order for the original pads and rotors, and I guess call it a day at that point. They actually have all the parts in stock for the for my car, for the original equipment. Of course, everything's Brembo on there, and I walked in and saw the car of my dreams. She is gorgeous. I mean, I would definitely get the carbon package though, which has the carbon fiber inlet here, and but she is beautiful. That's even if I mean, I would even get this honestly. Carl seats. She is gorgeous. Hopefully one day. $627 to $367. Don't ever go cheap on a car that has Brembo pads or Brembo brakes. So, like I said earlier, on the drive to work, it still was having the vibration when stopping or decelerating from 70 miles per hour. So, I went ahead, of course, and ended up buying the original equipment, rotors and pads, and I'm about to install those back on the car. So, should have done that from the get-go. Or whatever it is, I guess I don't get the look of the performance is sporty. I got the caliber, but I don't get the big look of it. So here we go, starting to install those back on there. So just to show you guys the difference in pads between the Power Stop and the Brembos. For one, there is a big difference in thickness. These are the Brembos right here, Power Stops. Of course you can see that, and that could make a world of a difference, of course, when the car's trying to stop as well. So as if you look at this side here, there's a beveled edge on that one. This one does not have a beveled edge, so there's full contact throughout the entire pad. Also, the design itself is slightly different where the pins go through. So there's a lot of things that cause vibrations on the car, and this would be possibly one of them causing the issues. As well as the rotors being actually, the Power Stops are thicker than the rotors that come with the car. So here are the Power Stop rotors.
with the original equipment rotors. Heavy duty rotors is what GM calls them. They don't say Brembo N anywhere on them. They probably are. They're meant for those Brembo actually pads. But you know, this is what I wanted. I wanted the design to dissipate heat, get rid of some of the brake dust, and it just looks nice. But unfortunately, with this type of car, I have to keep the stock rotors on there. So let's go ahead and finish this job.
All right, so brake job is done for the third time. So you know what they say, third time's a charm. After 2 sets of the supposedly performance brake pads from powerstop, the Evolution brake pads from powerstop, 2 tries. I'm not gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna put the stock ones back on like I've told you guys. That's done. I'm gonna go ahead and go drive this thing. Hopefully everything is okay. It should be. I mean, there's no other reason why when I'm braking the car shakes, but it's probably those rotors. So I'm gonna go drive this. It's kind of dark outside right now, so I won't be able to film this while I'm driving, but I will let you guys know how it performs. Actually, I might even take it in on tomorrow as well. Just go on a quick drive with the car, have you guys go in there with me, and we'll find out how it goes. But pretty much a failed attempt for me to do a review on powerstop brakes. This is something that a company that I like using their powerstop equipment before. Fortunately, in this car doesn't work. Don't get me wrong, the brakes by all means are great on the right applications. Unfortunately, on a 2014 Cadillac CTS with a 2.0 turbo, it's not. It's not gonna work. It's just gonna give you a lot of shake, and they're very sensitive, I guess. So again, they are great products. Try them on all your cars. If you have Brembo brakes, stay with the Brembo brakes, whatever the manufacturer recommends on that. Other than that, you know, here we go. We'll try this thing out and see. Hopefully, crossing my fingers that all that was. All right, fellas. So this is the first time I'm driving the car since I put the brakes on the other day. I did go for a very slight drive, nothing major, just kind of to adjust the brakes, make sure that the calipers or the pistons actually push all the way out. It was late that night. I couldn't record a video because it wouldn't get any light in the car. So this is the first time that I'm driving the vehicle after putting the original equipment rotors back on and pads that came from the factory. And I must say, you can feel the difference automatically. Even at low speeds, the vehicle responds differently. You don't even feel any of the vibration. Low speeds, you were getting a very slight pulsation. You can feel it in the pedal, kind of, you know, as the car would stop, you can kind of feeling nudging a little bit as it came to a stop. But now, I mean, you speed this car up to, you know, 60, 70 miles per hour, hit the brakes, and it's a smooth stop. No heavy vibrations, no rumbling. And again, the rumbling might have been from the holes, the cross-drilled holes on there. But other than that, sorry about the bumps there. But other than that, the car feels great. Again, nothing against powerstop, and this is where I'm going to end this video. But nothing against powerstop, I should say. Powerstop is great. I've had them on many applications, many cars. I had them on Cadillac DTS, an STS, and even a 2008 to 2012 Cadillac CTS. I've had a 2008 and actual 2010 CTS. Never had an issue with powerstop. Unfortunately, with these brakes, they do come original from the factory on the 2014s and up with Brembos on there with performance brakes. So if you have Brembo brakes from the factory, put back on what's supposed to go back on. Go to GM, get the actual parts. Go to Cadillac, get the actual parts. Don't try to go with a powerstop set because it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna feel right. The car's gonna stop, but it's gonna be a crappy feeling. So, again, failed. That was a powerstop review fail, but I learned something. And I hope you guys learned something from this too. At least take something back from this video that you can't if you have Brembo brakes, just stick with what's on the car and do your homework before you replace your brakes. So other than that, if you like what you guys are seeing, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button. I will keep posting more videos about my car and about other cars as well. I haven't had a chance to do anything and go out with work and everything. I'm busy. I do still have to do a review that's coming up on the 2018 or 2019 Nissan Kicks. I will also have reviews coming up on the 2019 Nissan Altima when that comes out. So again, stay tuned to my channel. Keep watching, subscribe, and hit the like button.